Her's getting more like Robbo's as well every
I
day.
wish he was. Bloody hell. I'd take his hair any day.
No,
I'd
but he
take
had-
any part of him.
Literally.
It was exactly now 4 years ago since I last qualified. I last really played competitive golf, and the last time I actually participated in regional open qualifying.
Well,
My last open qualifying took place in 2017 at West Lancs, where I finished in style with a hole-in-one on 17 and a par on 18. I hung up my open qualifying boots and went, I'm okay with that now because I know where my limit sits.
well, open qualifying was this weekend.
It was.
And today, when this comes out Tuesday, it is the final qualifying. So we should know by the end of today, well, not actually today that we're recording this, but by the time this podcast's out, who's got in, who's not got in, etc.
I'm going to give a very, very quick summary of what open qualifying is, certainly for people in the States that might not know it. A lot of people in the UK might not know what it is.
Okay.
Over the last few years, typically you'll have a regional qualifying golf course, which is, as it is, a regional qualifying course. Normally there's probably about 8 regional qualifying golf courses around the country. And on one particular day, normally at the end of June, there is an 18-hole competition, and a top section of each regional qualifiers, the lowest scores, will qualify to play in final qualifying, which normally takes place about a week or so later at a different venue, at a final qualifying venue, where typically 3 players qualify after playing 36 holes of golf, and those 3 players from 4 different final qualifying events, so 12 in total, play in that year's Open Championship. This year's been slightly different. There's only 4 regional qualifying venues. Once you qualify from there, it was split over 2 days. Moorfield went through to final qualifying. Final qualifying takes place today at the said venues as regional qualifying. I'm making this sound dead simple, aren't I? Again, final qualifying is 36 holes. Top 3 get in. 12 golfers a mix of amateur golfers who are playing off scratch or better, teaching pros, ex-tour pros, tour pros. Anybody has the chance potentially to be playing in the Open in those 12 spots.
The magic comes from, like you said, if you're a scratch handicap amateur or a PJ pro or just a pro, you're 54 holes away from playing the Open.
Crazy.
And that is why the Open, obviously the name the Open, is kind of magical. And I think you would find that most PGA golf pros at your pro shop, at your local golf shop, have probably tried it at least once, haven't they?
Definitely.
Most, because why would you not? Is it 120 quid or something to enter?
I think it's getting close to 150
Right,
now.
150 quid to enter. Certainly if you're an amateur, because actually I'm going to come on to this in a moment. There's a guy from my golf club who entered. In fact, there was a couple of guys. There was one guy who I'm going to touch on in a moment who entered. And his reason for playing was literally it's 150 quid to play a good golf course in its best condition at its most tough test, back tee, super thick rough, etc. And you've also got the chance of playing with either a pro or another elite amateur who may go on to be a famous tour pro in the future.
It's a good way of looking at it.
So it's a day out, and it's putting yourself, because a lot of these guys that are amateurs might be the best player at the club or even at county level or whatever it might be. So there might be a big fish sometimes in a small pond, and you go to open qualifying, and then there's some real serious golfers in there, and it puts you on a level where you see how good you actually are.
Definitely.
And again, it's that dream. Even if these scratch handicappers, it's not going to happen probably, but if a scratch handicapper has 3 rounds where everything goes right, it could happen, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's the exciting thing.
There's no. If you got through and you played great in regional, great in final, you shot the lowest of the scores. It doesn't matter what your handicap was, what your background is, where you came from, whatever it may be, you have a chance of playing in the Open. So we've got some great news.
Very good news.
Because your friend of mine, friend of the show,
Yes,
who had an amazing podcast episode. You'd have heard it. I can't remember what number it was now. Probably in the 50s, would it have been?
I don't know, a while ago.
James Robinson,
Yes.
who played in the Open in 2019 at Carnoustie.
18.
18 at Carnoustie.
Yeah, 19 was in Ireland, 20 didn't happen.
Yeah. He participated in regional qualifying. He shot 5 under par.
Bossed it.
He is through to final qualifying today.
He's an absolute baller. And like you said, did he have no bogeys?
0 bogeys.
That's outrageous.
5 birdies at his home course with a relatively amount of pressure. Pressure from our audience starting to follow him now.
Mhm.
He's got like 16,000 followers on Instagram now.
Yeah.
He's been participating in Road to the Open, at the documentary at the Open.
That was just a shout to the Open for that. Those videos were really good. They documented 4 people on their journey to hopefully qualifying for the Open, and James' one in particular was class. And he featured you on it as well.
He gave us a
which
nice
is
little shout out. You would have also seen him from the 2 videos we filmed, or 3 videos we filmed with James, where first off he took on the challenge of, can he shoot under par with £70 golf clubs?
Yeah.
Bossed it, like you said.
Yeah.
Can he challenge me with playing with only 4 clubs? Smashed me. And also the little cool coaching video that he did, 5 tips to play better around the short game, and when he pitched one in from like 50 yards.
Well, he's got such a following now, and he's so cool, and everyone aspires to be him. When you hear the kids on the streets now, they're wearing like some new trainers or sneakers, they don't go, oh, they're sick, or they're cool. They go, oh, they're Robbo, them. Because everyone wants to be Robbo. Like, I like your new hair, it's Robbo, that. Isn't that new TaylorMade driver? Oh, it's proper Robbo. Because that just means cool now.
Guys want to be him, girls want to be with him.
Yes.
But he's happily married.
With a child.
So yeah, he's qualified. Everyone here from the Rick Shiels Golf Show massively support him. Hopefully he continues.
Matt doesn't. That's always slagging him off.
It's not like him.
No, he hates him.
Hopefully continues, and you never know. At the end of Tuesday, when you're watching England versus Germany, and England go through in penalties, and we get the good news that James Robinson has also qualified for the Open, the champagne is being popped. Even you're going to pop a little bit of bubbly on Tuesday
I might have a second monster of the day and go mad. Serious question now. Would you rather Robbo get through to the Open and England get beat by Germany, or England win and Robbo not go through? No, I think you'd go Robbo.
I think I would.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm sorry, England, but for me,
Robbo comes first.
Robbo is priority.
Yeah.
If I had a golden ticket and I could say only one thing happens, Robbo's playing in the Open.
Your hair's getting more like Robbo's as well every day.
I wish it was. Bloody hell. I'd take his hair any day.
No,
I'd
but
take any part of him.
Literally. As Nat said to a bishop. But no, Robbo has killed it. And regardless of what he does today on Tuesday, he has, for someone that coaches full time with a very young child, very, very busy golf coach, to go out and shoot 5 under with no bogeys is awesome golf. So he's really kind of lived up to his hype. Well, not his own hype. He's not created the hype, but the hype we've created, if you like, he's lived up to.
Doesn't it also show that talent is so paramount? So you were telling me the story, and I was following it a bit as well because I know a little bit about him and his lad who's really good on Instagram. Oh God, I forgot his lad's name. Now it's going to annoy me.
Who?
Ben.
Oh,
So
Ben
Barry,
Cadder. Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So Barry Taylor,
Right,
who
yeah.
is a golf pro at Clark's Golf Centre, where you go and practice sometimes. Really
Yeah.
nice guy. Had loads of like local event victories. Has he ever
Yes.
played in the Open?
No, he's got through regional before. He's never got through final.
I was following his journey so much yesterday because after 9 holes he was 3 under par at West Lancs.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately had a little bit of a nightmare finish and just missed out by 1. But again, he doesn't practice, does he?
Yeah, so as Rick said then, Barry Taylor is a golf coach, used to be a full-time player, certainly on like the local tours. He's very good at kind of Lancashire level and country level. I think he's probably his best accolade was that he played in the PJ Cup, which is where the best PJ golf pros in the country play against the...
Yeah.
It's like a Ryder Cup, but for PJ pros,
Yeah.
basically. But he's a really good player, but he hasn't played competitive golf, I'd say, for years, and probably hasn't even played a round of golf. I think it's to me for a year or so.
That's mad, that,
He
innit?
clips a few balls in between lessons and stuff. Yeah, and he shot 2 over. So he currently, as it stands now, he's the 8th reserve, which he's probably not going to get through on that. But
Gutted
like
for
you
him.
sathere's just to show, there's comes a level where obviously you have to practice, but some guys and girls just have a level of talent where they're always going to be able to get it round, aren't they?
They just have it.
Well, it's a bit like, probably similar but a bit different. But like when you watch Ian Woosnam at the Masters, and we said about it the other week, he's obviously not going to win it, but he's not embarrassing himself. He's getting it round. So he's got it to a level, hasn't he? And I think some of these guys, 2 over around West Lancs when you've not played for ages is really impressive. So that guy I mentioned before from My Golf Club, I just want to touch on that. So there's a guy who is a scratch golfer, I think, at My Golf Club. He might actually be lower now with the World Handicap System, because I know a few people have come down off that. His name's Dave Jean-Renard. I think it's like a French surname, but he's an English guy. And he shot 9 over at West Lancs. But this is, again, for me, I know we talk about this a lot on podcasts and people might be getting a bit sick of it, but this levels of ability. So Dave is a scratch golfer. So at my club, he's one of the best players. He's won club champs a handful of times.
I was going to say, he's competing every time club champs is on into.
He's, from what I've not played him for years, but he's not a massive hitter, but keeps it straight, can get it round, and round his home course, he's a comfortable, genuine scratch golfer.
Really good at like I say, playing that golf course that he's played 100 times.
Yeah, and he can score really well. So he went to qualify it, and he shot 9 over 8 to 1, which currently, well, he's come tied 95th. So he's far from embarrassed himself. He shot 9 over, which is probably the kind of worst he'd want to really shoot. But again, not a horrendous score. He's 81, really. But it just, again, goes to show the levels. The scores that have qualified so far is 1 over. So he's about 8 shots away from qualifying.
Yeah.
But at a local golf club, he is what we call an elite player. So again, that kind of big fish in a small pond. And it's just that level of, like, every golf club, again, has got the scratch golfer, the +1 golfer, the elite junior. But even to get through the first stage of open qualifying, it's just that different level. And I messaged him before and said, I was doing the podcast today, and did he mind if we mentioned his name and his score? And he said, absolutely no problem at all. He was playing pretty well, he said, although he got 81. He was only 1 over for 15 of the holes, but then 8 over the other 3. So as we see with these links courses, you have a couple of bad holes, it just destroys you.
So easy to make doubles and triples.
100%. But he said, actually, as well, he said, all in all, it was a great experience. When am I, a decent club golfer, which was quite modest, but nothing more than that, so it was very modest, really, ever going to get the chance to play with a likely future tour pro around West Lancs for 150 quid. Loved every second of it.
Very good.
And he actually weirdly played with Josh Greer, who is the Australian young lad who featured in your Break 75 video with Minwoo Lee
at
Kings Barnes.
Who plays off +5,
who got
and he
through.
Qualified.
Yeah. Wow, mad small world, isn't it, really?
Crazy, that, isn't it? So Josh qualified, James Robinson qualified, a friend of mine from college who was the best golfer in college by a million miles when I was there, Chris Hansen, qualified. I think he was nearly winning it. Was there any other names that you know of? Like actually qualified? I know Sam Avery from St Anne's Old Links.
Did he get through?
He qualified.
Oh, my days.
Yeah. There was a 19-man playoff at St Anne's Old Links. I think he was in it and qualified.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't realise that. Oh, yeah, he's there, yeah. Wow.
It's cool, isn't it?
That's really good golf.
Shout out, because I think people want to know. I think Dan Webster did solid.
Yes, so...
It wouldn't have been... It wasn't his best round of golf ever. I think he shot 10 over. But considering only last week he participated in Ironman.
Yeah.
Was it Ironman or triathlon? What's the difference, actually?
I think an Ironman's longer. I can't remember. He did the one that's a marathon, a massive bike ride.
Yeah.
So whichever one that
Whatever
was,
it was
ridiculous, yeah.
I think he raised £17,000 for Alder Hay Hospital, where his son was. Big shout out to Dan. I think he's done an amazing job there. And actually, I'm sure he'll be slightly disappointed about his result, but good on him.